What is going on?
What's up? We're back. We're back.
We're back. Episode 7. Let's
Happy
go.
Easter.
Happy Easter, everybody.
The bunny is here. And Jesus is alive.
Amen.
Come on.
That's good.
We're here and we're bringing you part 2, as promised, to our discussion on project management, really what we do in a day's work and planning a big event.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that we were unpacking here.
We were unpacking a lot in part 1 about like the event planning and stuff. And we were kind of talking about the difference between Quinn's event planning versus like my event planning, because it's very different, because one is focused on like a soul, right, the LED panels, and then the other's focused on like almost the entire event. Like I've done events where we've had to like we're responsible for the chairs and everything. It's like, oh my gosh, those events are always terrible.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
And what you can kind of arrive to is a conclusion, pretty much, that this beast cannot fall into a system. Like production as a whole, there's no system you can learn.
There's none. It's different.
But rather, every job is its own thing.
Completely separate.
And it takes a human brain, a real thinker, to think it up.
This is a job that AI won't be able to take over.
AI, wow.
They won't be able to do it.
Wow.
They'll
There's something else to
they'll get too stressed out, and they'll just like explode.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. I mean, that's what the humans do too, I guess, sometimes. But
yeah, AI, you know what that stands for?
Artificial intelligence?
No. Ants in. And the question is, where are they? My pants. Ants in my pants.
I got ants in my pants and I dance like I'm crazy.
Ooh. Nice.
I love that. But anyway, coming back to the part 2 of this, and we figured, because here in the beautiful, I just rolled my eyes, central Pennsylvania, we are now in summer. We skip totally over spring.
Yeah, we don't do that here.
We don't do spring.
So here's what we do is winter, and then it stops.
Yep.
And then winter again.
Yep.
It like stops for like a week and a half. And then it snows again, and it's cold for another 3 to 6 weeks.
Yep.
And now we're finally at the end of it.
Exactly.
And that's traditional. That's like yearly around here. But we're in the warm weather.
It's beautiful outside. Today we were in high 70s, pushing 80.
Yeah.
It thunderstormed a little bit last night, so like, it wasn't too humid today. Still a little humid. But yeah.
Which sidetrack? Are you a thunderstorm guy?
I love thunderstorms.
Thunderstorms are so good.
My dad and I used to sit out on the deck and watch thunderstorms roll in, and that's like my favorite memory of my entire childhood.
Wow. Yeah, I remember when I would do that with you. So
did you just put yourself in that story as my father?
Yeah. Yeah.
Father Quinn.
You're growing up so fast.
It's like whenever we work in Catholic church. It's like, oh, Father Joel will be right with you.
Father Joel. Yeah, right.
All right.
Wow.
Do I have to call him that?
It's gonna be one of those podcasts.
Yeah, we'll get off that.
But yeah, thunderstorms are great. I love sitting on the deck and just watching them. All this to say, being outside in general is great.
It is.
You know what's really great doing outside?
Events.
Yes,
sir.
That segue.
Come on. So we want to talk to you, the viewer, and ourselves tonight about events. Outside
and
versus
inside. the two options that you get.
There's only 2. It's great. Well,
unless you're in like a tent, then it kind of is like a gray line. I'm both in and out.
But you're definitely outside. You just have an umbrella over your head.
Yeah, I'm inside, outside.
I'm outside, inside.
So, anyways, we got... yeah, that's something to unpack. So
not now.
Not now. We want to unpack events outside.
Yes, we do.
And we just want to hop back in because this is part 2, right?
Yeah.
This is the end of an ellipses.
Yeah, so at the end of last episode, we were talking about the barn smoker event that I got to be a part of.
Yeah.
Last year.
Can you just give us a quick synopsis.
Yeah, quick synopsis. Smoke cigars all night, listen to some music, play with some lights.
Mm.
Easy peasy.
Outside,
Giant mobile stage, middle of a soybean field,
middle of nowhere.
middle of nowhere, Kentucky. It was awesome.
So I think the first question that immediately comes to mind for me,
Mhm.
because you say middle of nowhere, with an event that requires a lot of electricity,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing an outdoor event, what goes on when it comes to planning electric? Like, how do you know that everything you need will be there?
Generator.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You bring a big boy in, like one of those big like trailer generators.
Yeah.
Set that John right in the soybean field.
Mm-hmm.
Fire it up.
So does that limit you to capacity of what you can do, or does that kind of outweigh like the amount of electric that a typical
Yeah.
big production would use?
So, like, let's draw this down real quick. So, in an event like that, we're doing all the lighting,
Mm-hmm.
we're doing all the audio. That's about it, right? You know, there were a couple TVs. Oh, we did video wall for that too. I forgot. So
Right. Which is a lot of prep.
Yep, you've got the whole AV system. It was
Mhm.
actually your video wall. It was the Outdoor 3.9.
Wow, nice.
So, looked amazing, by the way. So, lighting, you kind of just, roll up specs on all those fixtures. So, I think we used a couple movers. Not a couple. There were like 8 spot fixtures. There's probably like 12 wash fixtures, moving wash, and then a bunch of other wash fixtures, a couple blinders, and then some face light. Nothing too crazy. I'm guessing we were probably... Now, we didn't bring in the lighting. We sub-rented the lighting from a company out in Nashville.
Okay.
I think that's where they were from. Maybe even farther than that. I don't know. They drove quite a while to come here. But it was all already packed on the mobile stage that we sub-rented. So they just kind of came and it was already on. We're like, great, we'll just use this. I would bet you we probably had 3 circuits for lighting. Probably max. So like we had like 60 amps there.
That's 120 or 220?
120.
Nice.
So 60 amps for lighting. Audio, probably got 2 circuits aside and 2 circuits for sub, maybe. That's probably a lot more than what we actually used. So let's say we just used a full 6 circuits for that. So that's 6, 9 circuits. And then video wall, probably with that outdoor wall, 3.9. How many circuits is that? Is that 6 or 3?
What is it? Panel by panel?
It's the 500 by 1,000 outdoor 3.9 panels.
No, yeah. I get that, but like how many high by how many wide?
Oh, it was 16 by 9 wall.
16 by 9.
So it was what, 3 by
Yeah.
10? 3 by 10.
3 by 10. Yeah.
With the dual panels.
So
I think we were able to do 3 circuits and put 10 panels on a circuit.
yeah, we typically do 17 panels per 120 outlet.
But if they're the double
120
panels,
circuit. If they're the double panels, divide that by 2.
is it a direct divide by 2?
No. I have a calculator.
Okay.
Not equipped on me at
So
this moment.
maybe we were doing 4 circuits.
Yes.
I think that sounds about right. But anyway, and then like front of house will get a circuit, but like front of house is pulling no power. We used an Avantis, and then we used an NX2 from Elation. So that's drawing nothing. A couple TVs, whatever. Add 2 circuits to that. So that puts us at like 15 circuits. I'm not a big like power guy. Like I don't know a ton about that. We have some members on the team that like really know what they're doing.
Don't sell yourself short, bro. Like
No,
you're jacked.
I hit that gym daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Power.
No, I haven't hit the gym. I actually canceled my Black Card membership.
Did you?
I did.
That's, you know what? That's like acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
That's growth.
I realized that I wasn't going to go.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? That I'm not going to pay.
There's a ridiculous amount of people that have fallen victim to the hands of Planet Fitness.
Yes, because they're like, oh, I'll go.
Yeah. And you
No,
keep
I'll
the
go.
membership. You're like, I'm going to come back.
You keep the membership because you feel bad if you cancel it because then
Right.
it's the accepting of, oh, I'm not going to go to the gym and work on
Yeah.
getting in shape.
Once you're out, you're like, out.
I just accepted it.
Yeah. Until you go back 4 months from now. Because your soon-to-be wife is like, You know what?
That's what I'm
I
thinking.
want you to look
Exactly.
fine.
I think I want to. Because
Yeah.
there's implications.
Right.
You
So you
look
might
good?
want to go back
Yeah.
after we record this here and
Maybe.
set that back up.
Yeah. I'll get that black card in Texas and rock and roll from there.
Yeah.
But no, so there's guys on the team that know a lot more than me, so they handle most of that stuff. But like that big generator, easily 15 circuits.
Holds it
no
all.
problem. Yep, and probably much more. So
Mm-hmm.
what we do is we fire up that generator, take feeder cable out into a PD, and then we just run all our stuff off PDs and stuff. So
Yeah. No, you can't have that right behind stage because of the sound, right?
we had it right behind stage.
Is it
It
loud?
was really quiet.
Really?
I was very impressed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Generators are getting more and more quiet, which I'm.
Yeah, they are. Now lots. So we did stuff with Doug Mastriano.
I've heard this name.
Yeah. So Doug Mastriano. Oh man, this is gonna make me sound dumb. I forget what he ran for. He ran for
Political.
governor.
Yes, it is political.
It's political. He ran for governor in PA.
That sounds right.
We'll
if
go
not
with that.
Senate.
It was one of those two options, so it has to be one of it. But when we did stuff for him, they asked us to have that generator as far as we possibly could from
Really?
stage. Even though it was quiet, they didn't want any noise. But like political people that is a whole nother world.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you think part of that was like security? Like with a generator, you could have a bomb in there or something.
I don't
I'm just
think
gonna
so.
throw that out.
I really don't think so. I think it was just because
They're just.
yeah. But that event, we didn't actually get to meet him, and I was very sad about that. We were going to, and then he left right before. But Donald Trump Jr. was there and spoke.
Did you say hey?
No, I didn't say anything.
You just looked at him.
Yep, awkwardly the entire time.
Awesome.
Just a dead gaze.
I'm sure he enjoyed that a lot.
I bet he loved it.
That's good networking there.
It was. Yeah, I really.
Really sold yourself.
Yeah. No.
Awesome.
But
So,
yeah, no, the political events, honestly, we could spend an entire episode just talking about, like, they're crazy. It's a whole nother level. Like, everybody's so much more demanding on that, like, in that atmosphere, and everything has to be perfect, or else you are just, like, chewed out. Like,
right.
they don't, and it's crazy.
Interesting.
But
wow, we just did a conference not too long ago so they're not political, but they're like a political talk show at a political event. So
Interesting.
they're called, well, I don't want to give our clients away, but we had a company
I'm
that,
just over here like, Doug Mastriano, Barnes. You're like, I don't.
well,
Quinn's got standards.
no, it's not like that. It's not like that. I just don't want to sell a different podcast because you all should just be listening to us.
It's true.
So, anyways, yeah, there's posters that we we rented to this podcast, and they had like several booths set up across the event, and they were pretty chill with us. So,
Yeah.
we haven't really, other than that,
Yeah.
we haven't stepped foot in the political world too much.
2 of your guys came down and set up the wall for Mastriano,
You know what?
the Outdoor 3.0.
Was that before I was there?
No, you were there.
Hmm.
I think it was Shane and I don't know the other guy's name.
When was this?
I would say like around August time last year.
Yeah, I was there in September.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, it was right before I joined.
I thought you were
So-
definitely there. Maybe
I
not.
don't know. Maybe it was in the
Oh.
talks or something.
Yeah, maybe that's what
Anyways,
it was.
that's a whole nother world. Maybe that's a part 3 that we could dive into.
Oh shoot.
Political. Wow.
Part 3. But today we want to talk a little bit about
Finally get into it.
finally get into what we talked about before, outdoor versus indoor events. I think we talked a lot about outdoor events
Yeah.
in part 1.
Right.
So let's talk about indoor events. Quinn brought up the first big thing, power.
Power.
Right? What's the difference there? And like we just briefly covered, outdoor, you gotta have a generator.
Mm-hmm. Or if
Like-
it's like right outside of a church, you can plug into the outside circuits, stuff like that, right?
You can do stuff like that, but like at that point in time, so like what I said, 15 circuits
Mm-hmm.
probably got us done. That's video wall, that's lighting, that's audio. So like you need 15 circuits. So that means you're finding 15 separate circuits around the outside of a building.
Right.
And then what are you doing? Pulling 15 200-foot AC cables?
Yeah. Let alone
Or-
like how shoddy are those outside? Like when was the last time those things were serviced?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And like how many spider webs are like stuck
Uh-huh.
inside? Like maybe your ground doesn't even connect because
Yeah.
there's like a black widow nest in there or something.
Right.
And then you just, I don't know,
One
get
thing,
bit by a
yeah.
black widow and die.
Right.
So that's why
We
you
don't want
never take power at the outside.
We do not want that. So yeah, one thing I noticed working for a production company, working a lot with churches, is that you can rely on the resources that the church has. Sometimes it'll grow great for you. Other times you're getting Uncle Joe's ladder who donated it 7 years ago and it's breaking apart. You know what I mean? Like you
Mhm.
don't know what kind of resources they're offering you. So it's better to come with all of the tools necessary for the job
Always.
on your own that you can depend on.
Always come prepared to do whatever you think you'll need to do. The second you rely on, and I've learned that even like not just doing stuff with like production with the company, but like traveling and playing guitar, like
Mhm.
doing worship nights and stuff. And you show up and they're like, oh yeah, we have this, we have this, we have this, we have this. And you're like, all right. And then you show up with like, what you think you need. And then you get there and you're like, okay, well, this doesn't work. This is
Yeah.
done the wrong way.
Right.
You didn't actually have this. So
Yeah.
now you need a bunch of things, and it's crazy. So, yeah, as much as you can. I mean, that honestly goes the same even for indoor events. Like,
Yeah, that's universal on
universal.
installs,
Bring
on
it.
rentals.
Bring everything you need. Don't, as much as it's nice, and like lots of churches will do that, be like save money. Like, oh, we have all this, we have all this. It's like, yeah, you do,
Right.
but it might suck.
Yeah.
It might be great, but it also might suck.
Yeah, you don't
and
know.
and that's not a risk that we can take, because then all of a sudden, like, what, we're taking trips back to the shop, then we're
Mhm.
not profitable, then it's like, all right, then why'd we do this in the first place? Like,
Yeah.
right, we love to do what we do, but at the end of the day, right, gotta put food on the table.
Yeah.
So
You're not looking for pleasant surprises. You're looking for
No.
blessed assurance. You know what I'm saying?
amen, brother.
Come on.
Come on,
Come
somebody.
on. So power outdoors is a little more in terms of cost because you're renting a generator or
Yep.
you own one and bringing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But indoor, I mean, you run into some of the same issues at times.
So yeah, with indoor, especially like with what we do, most of the venues that we do indoor stuff at are like event venues. They're
Mhm.
meant for this kind of thing. So
Mhm.
most of them have like, I'm blanking, like cam ties on
okay.
on like a panel.
Right.
So you literally just take feeder right off a main panel, put it into your PD, you're ready to rock and roll.
Mhm.
You've got as much power as you want. Well, as much power as the PD can handle.
Right.
So like 95% of the time, that's what you're doing indoor. Super nice.
Mhm.
You just got to find the ties. If you don't have that, then you're probably taking wall outlets in as many places as you can, and either running just individual lines, or you can run socket inside.
Mhm.
And you can do this outside too, but with a break-in on one end and a break-out on the other end. So basically what that does, you have a break-in, so it's like 6 male Edison plugs, and you plug them into a bunch of different circuits, and then it has a socket end. All 6 of them go to the same socket end. You plug that into the socket cable, run one cable, and then plug a breakout, which has 6 like female ACNs, and then you have those 6 circuits run over 100,
okay.
200 feet, but it's only one cable. So it makes the out easier, which when it
less
comes to
messy.
events, it is all about the out. Literally, it's all about the out.
Mhm.
Do everything you can on the in to get out of there as fast as you can.
Right.
Nobody wants to be there late.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of those things is cable management. I mean, this is still in the realm of power because power
Mhm.
takes cables.
Yeah.
But yeah, always make sure that you're, setting yourself up to leave and not mess with a rat's nest before you're over.
I've walked into so many events, not spirits, and I look at front of house, and I'm like, you guys are going to be here till like 2 a.m. minimum, if not
Right.
later. Because, like, it's a complete rat's nest.
Yeah.
Like, it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So part of me is like, all right, they're either spending the time now and staying here late to unravel that nest and make sure everything's straight, wrap the cables, or they are throwing that nest in a bin
Till the next one.
till the next one.
Yeah.
And it's probably the latter.
Right.
Because when the gig's over and everyone wants to go home, it's like, oh, I don't care. Throw it in the bin.
Right.
Like, that's everybody's attitude.
Yeah. And I think that's the difference between those companies that are next level, like Spirit, like Refresh, like we take that time, put that quality in.
I love the word next level. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's
So if
something
anyone's
like
looking
that.
for an LED wall, reach out Quinn at Refresh LED.
Just plug the companies like
Yeah.
every chance we get.
Right. But yeah, it is something like it's almost being proactive at all times.
Oh yeah.
And just being
100%.
ready for anything to come up, being ready. That's like before you get to the job, you need to think, okay, how am I going to set this up? When you're
Mhm.
at the job, how am I going to tear this down?
Yep.
When you're tearing it down,
Yeah.
how am I going to pack this?
Yeah.
Like
how are we going to get this back in the shop
right.
as efficiently as possible?
Yeah.
Like if you're not thinking ahead at every step, like you're going to get behind. You're going to put yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, as often as you can, like, just do something to prepare yourself, for whatever that next event is, or for whatever it may be. But
Right.
no, that's always a good rule of thumb. So, another thing I want to talk about, outdoor versus indoor, is like flying motors,
Mm.
flying an LED wall, flying a line array,
Right.
flying lighting truss.
Yeah.
Indoors, you have a couple options. There's a couple options. So we could draw another Venn diagram like we did in like episode 1,
We don't have a
and
whiteboard in it.
then never post it.
Well, that marker was dried out.
Yeah,
so
no, it was terrible.
we had to like retrace. We were like, what did we say in this part? And
Yeah,
yeah.
it was terrible. So on your Venn diagram, on the left side, if you have indoor, on the right side, you have outdoor. In the middle would be, I'm blanking, like ST-180s,
Mm-hmm.
lifts, crank towers. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh yeah, we use those.
Uh-huh.
They're kind of old school for us at this point. No one really uses them anymore. But here and there, we'll bust them out. Not old school generally. I mean for Refresh.
Oh,
like,
sure.
We haven't used them in a long time.
Yeah. No, so they work great in specific situations, obviously,
Right.
like anything does. But crank towers is right in the middle. If you are inside and you can't rig motors to the ceiling, crank towers,
Right.
easy.
If there's no ceiling at all.
If there's no ceiling at all and you're
i.e.
outside, crank towers,
Right.
easy. Put like 20 feet of truss, take 2 crank towers, rig the motors to the truss. Well, not the motors to the truss, but like clip onto the truss, and then you have your motors on.
Mhm.
You guys know how motors work. And then fly the truss, and
Right.
like that you can do stuff off of that. Or honestly, if you're flying stuff with a motor and you're probably not even flying it off of that truss, you're probably just rigging whatever you need to onto that truss
Right,
and then
right.
lifting it with the crank towers. 95% of the time that's what you're doing, unless you have some reason you need to like actively lower and raise whatever you're lifting. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could totally be a solution. But let's say you want to rig towers, or not towers. You want to rig line array outside,
Right.
but
what do you do?
you don't have crank
Oh.
towers,
What do you do?
and there's no ceiling.
Right. What do you do?
So now you're like, oh, I don't know what to do.
But
E-
what do you do?
Easy ground stack.
Ground stack it.
No. That's one solution. But if you
Mhm.
actually do want to raise it, Spirit owns a pair of LA Applied towers.
Wow.
I forget the model number.
Now explain these things.
So I'll have to post a picture on the Instagram.
Okay,
so
if
you
anyone's
guys-
looking for LA Spirit Towers, reach out to Tanner at Spirit.
Tanner at spiritsoundlight.com. They're the LA 1225 line array towers. They are epic. And we've used them at honestly any event that we possibly can because they look so cool. That's what they look like.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So it's a tower
Okay.
with a motor on the bottom, and then you run the chain up the truss tower, and then down. You put your subs on the bottom for like weight, and then you rig your line array and you lift it up.
Yeah, let me see that again. All right, so yeah, that's amazing. I like that a lot.
They're super cool.
I was gonna try and think of an analogy for how to explain what it looks like.
It's
Think of a Y, like the letter Y, and then you
Mhm.
just bend the bottom stick
yes,
straight up in the air,
yes.
and
That's actually perfect.
put speakers onto the bottom of the Y.
Yeah, basically. But I love those for rigging stuff outside. I've seen people use 2 of those to rig or to fly a video wall.
Really?
Uh-huh.
How much weight can they have sold?
Oh, those can hold a ridiculous amount of
Really?
weight. Well, the legs are 20 feet long.
Interesting.
Well, maybe not 20 feet.
So
10 or
what'd they rig it to? Like,
So like they had 2 of them, and then they had a piece of truss,
okay.
and then they just rigged the video
Was
wall.
that
on the
like
truss.
DT truss or?
I have no idea. I'm assuming it was just I think it was global,
Okay.
just something basic. But
yeah, that's like, as far as I understand, rigging an LED wall to just a piece of truss is like, it has to be rigged a certain way because it'll break in the middle because of the weight.
what will break?
The truss, like
The truss?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Like if it's like a normal stick of truss, the ones that we use in the shop, like for ground stacks,
Uh-huh.
we can't use those for flying. So we use fly bars.
Oh no, yeah, you have to use fly bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just clamp it to the truss on the thing.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't want to clamp it to the truss. I don't think the truss would break, but then it would spin. The fly bars allow you to like fly that truss in the middle
Right.
and it to evenly distribute the weight along the truss. Yeah, if you just clamped it straight, I mean, I guess technically you could.
We don't
But
because there's
it would definitely not be good practice and definitely not industry standard.
it
Like,
is not safe.
It would look it would look really weird
Yeah.
too. I think they'd be like they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Believe it or not, we had a client who did that for like an NFL thing. So it was
Really?
actually the crank, 2 of the crank things,
Uh-huh.
and a stick of truss just across.
And he just
And
Like-
he just clamped it onto that. And we were
the panels straight to the truss.
yeah. And this
Oh,
is
my
what
land.
this is what I was saying. Yeah. This is the no-go.
Yeah, that's definitely a no-go.
I can see it clicking for you
yeah,
now.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, that sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah, we were like, whoa.
Yeah.
He had a great Super Bowl party though. No one was injured.
Hey,
So
you got to do what you got to do for a good Super Bowl party, you know?
yeah. We're not allowed to say that, I guess. So anyways.
But yeah, I forget where we were going with this.
Yeah, me too.
Rigging stuff outside. You're either ground stacking or you're using crank towers,
Mhm.
which makes it a little more difficult. It's really nice to rig inside when you have points in the ceiling. We've done a lot of events at Kalahari recently. Super easy to rig points in the ceiling. Open steel,
Mhm.
drop ceiling. Like, you just get up there in a lift. You just, put some steel around an I-beam, lay some potato sack down. I forget what they call that stuff.
Mhm. Packing peanuts.
No. Like a potato sack.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the sack.
Burlap.
Burlap. That's what it is.
Oh.
Lay some burlap down, and then you just drop chains, and you're good to go. So, like that's the way to go, rigging inside if you can. But, I mean, rigging stuff outside is very similar to rigging stuff inside when there's no No attachment points in the ceiling.
That makes sense.
Or, I'm not going to mention any names, when certain venues don't allow you to rig in their ceilings because only a certain company is allowed to legally like rig in the venue.
It was one time, Tanner. Let it go.
No, it wasn't. It was every time.
Name the names.
No.
Spill the tea.
I'd never.
But what did you do? Did you have to bring in the crank guys? Or the...
No, we just did something else. So, like, something about, I forget exactly, and I've heard different things from different people, but there's a venue in our area that anything above 6 feet is owned by this AV company. So, like, so think of, like, a ballroom. The bottom 6 feet of the ballroom is owned by the ballroom, and the rest of it is owned by this AV company. And
That is ridiculous.
you're not allowed to like rig stuff in the room because it's in their space, so
That's
they
the
have to
most
like
ridiculous thing
rig
I've
it
ever
for
heard.
you. I don't understand it fully.
Over 6 feet?
Yeah. So like, but they don't mind if you like ground stack over 6 feet. But if you like, if you're like trying to fly something in that room, they get upset and tell you can't do it. Really bizarre.
So, like, if the door's left open one day, right,
Mm-hmm.
and a bunch of bats fly in, and they go above that threshold line, are they now that company's bats?
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah, that's capitalism. They're doing it right.
It's something.
I might just start buying the top half of people's houses. Like, you can keep the floor. I just want the ceilings.
You would own a lot of fans.
Yeah. Hey, I'm buying my fans.
Yeah.
Belgium, I love you.
Belgium still has not reached out to us.
Yeah, Belgium.
Watches every video.
You're on probation,
We don't have
Belgium,
videos,
but we still love
podcasts.
you.
Probation. Yeah.
Wow. I am intrigued by this flying topic.
Yeah.
I am.
How's that?
Just like the indoor versus the outdoor, it fascinates me. It's very nice. It's been nice to hear your viewpoints. So we talked about the ups, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ceilings and the flying and the all that.
Heck
Let's
yeah, we
talk
did.
about the foundations.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, man.
Good one.
Okay, you're in a field. Let me throw this out.
Yeah.
A soybean field, let's use that as our instance. It rained 5 days in a row right
Straight.
before this event.
Just thunderstorm.
Air's finally clearing up,
Mm-hmm.
and the people who are leading event, they're so excited because the weather's perfect just in time.
Yeah, it is. It's perfect weather.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But what's not perfect, Tanner?
The dirt.
The dirt.
Soggy and muddy.
Yes, and soft.
Very soft.
And you have to put a mobile trailer.
Yup.
You have to put, what else do you have to put down?
The mobile trailer.
The mobile
that would
trailer.
be the biggest
Yeah.
thing. But like if we weren't doing a mobile trailer, like we have to build a stage,
Mm-hmm.
and there's 4 legs on each stage deck.
Right. And you have
And
to
you're probably
make
doing
that
like at least
level.
like maybe 16 stage decks, maybe 20 something like
Right.
that.
Right.
And then you have to make that level.
Mm-hmm.
Inside, building a stage, so easy.
Sometimes.
So, almost all the time.
Yeah.
So we have static legs for our stages, so we use winger stages. We have static legs and we have adjustable ones. So like they have 6 inches adjustable, and then they have 6 inches of screw.
So
you have
so you can adjust.
You can do whatever
Amazing.
size you want.
That makes it easy.
For inside, we just take static legs. You don't even have to level the stage because you know it's level.
Yeah.
Because the floor's level.
Mm-hmm.
And the legs are all the same exact height. So it's great. Building stages outside sucks.
Yeah.
Like it really does. I have a picture. I'm not going to post it because was not OSHA approved. But at some point in time in my life with a company that will remain unnamed, I built a stage on a hill that started, the stage deck was essentially on the ground, no leg,
Okay. Wow.
to a fully extended leg on top of 3 cinder blocks
Oh no.
to the height that I could walk under the stage and not even like have to duck at all. Like I
So,
had inches of clearance above my head.
did you ever at one point in this event think of the possibility of what would happen if those
Yes.
cinder blocks
The
closed?
entire time we were doing it, I was thinking about that. The entire weekend. So it was a ballet show.
Mm.
And the whole time I'm sitting there going, "Oh my gosh."
They are
If-
pretty light on their feet.
They are. So it ended up not happening because it rained. So
Good.
thank goodness.
Yeah.
They still used the stage briefly, but there wasn't a lot of dancing. Now we did make it safe. Like we anchored it to the ground where we could. There was enough weight on it. Like I jumped through my weight around on the stage, and there was it really wasn't going anywhere. So I did feel good about it, and we probably would not have left if we didn't feel good about it. But it
even
was
still.
even still, it was one of the craziest stages I've ever. It was literally on a hill. So we didn't do a site visit for this event. And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, there's like a foot slope on this hill, like about a foot." And we get there and we're like, a foot, like 6 feet. Like, what are you talking? Like, what
Foot
did you
slope.
use to measure this slope? Like, did you just look at it? Oh my lands,
Oh.
it was brutal. But like building that stage, every single leg on every deck is a different height by just a little bit. So you have to
Wow.
level the first deck, all 4 legs,
Mhm.
and then you have to get the second deck level with the first deck, all 4 legs, and then
Yeah,
you make your
that's
first
what's-
row of 4, and then you start the second row, and you're like, "Oh shoot, the first one isn't. We need the first one to be a little more like this to
so
make
you
the
go through them
second one."
all and work
And you
on
go
the
through them
feet.
all again, and it takes forever. When you're inside, static legs, boom, stage is up in like 10 minutes. It takes
Yeah.
no time at all.
That's great.
I love building stages inside. But yeah, if it were to rain like in that situation, mobile stage, I think the most difficult part would be getting it into the position. Obviously, you're dragging a tractor trailer
Yeah, getting caught in the mud.
through the mud. Like that would be rough. And to your point, if it rained to that extent, there's a possibility that just is not able to happen.
Right.
And then, you're probably changing locations. You're doing it in a driveway. You're doing it in a parking lot. You're going
Mhm.
somewhere nearby. Like, stuff has to change. And lots of these times, like with events and outdoor events and stuff like this, you just have to be open to an extent of, like, things are going to get changed.
Yeah.
Like, rarely does stuff go perfectly to plan.
Right. Right. And that's just part of the thing. That's the
That's-
nature of the beast.
That literally is. I mean, that's what I get paid to do. Like,
Right.
lots of the time, I just consider myself a problem solver.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm an L1, but like 90% of this job is me solving problems and figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
And it's just having the knowledge and the ability to like work through issues like that, which is,
Interesting.
I think, a large part of what we do as production guys.
Yeah. So have you, as a company or as an individual, worked kind of on processes that could be a little more efficient for those things that come up frequently? Like, for instance, have you ever thought of like, okay, we need a plan B position for if we can't get to this location, where would be the most next ideal place?
Yeah, so lots of the times, I'll use graduations as an example. So we do a lot of graduations and stuff for schools,
Yeah.
high schools and colleges. And like basically what we're talking about is like a rain or shine policy.
Right.
So like, hey, if it's thunderstorming, Tanner and his dad or Quinn can go sit and watch the thunderstorm, but the rest of us are going to go inside in the gym and do it in there.
Yeah.
So like we almost have 2 separate quotes, and we bring everything we need for both, especially if it's like you're traveling to go
Mhm.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll bring everything we need for both. And we'll see. Obviously,
Just run with it.
first game plan is assemble outside, but like if we're assembling outside and it gets just dumps, like right as fast as you can, you figure out what you do. You talk with the client. You're
Mhm.
going to be like, hey, it's going to take us like 3 hours to tear the stuff down that we need, get it inside, get the stuff out here that's not waterproof, like
Mhm.
safe. And then we should be good to go. And they'll be like, oh, we can't do that. Like, we need to do this. And it's like, all right, well, if we need to do it in just 1 hour instead of 3, then maybe we have to use a house PA, but we can do this. And they're like, oh, all right, that'll have to work. And then we do that, because basically all it is communicating with the client,
Right.
making sure they know what's going on, having them approve the solutions you come up with. You can't just do whatever you want. Obviously,
Right,
at the end of the
yeah.
day, we're working for the client. The client, whatever they want comes first. So within reason.
Yeah.
So,
I know that like with Refresh, when we're doing installs or even rentals, we keep our point of contact like attached to our hip. Like,
yeah,
I mean, you're just
100%.
constant communication. It makes them more comfortable and it makes you more comfortable so you're not retracing your work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whenever you're halfway through cabling a screen and they're like, oh, I thought that was going to be, 1.5 feet higher.
Yep.
And now you have to take the whole wall down, redo the unistrut. Like,
Yeah.
Instead of that, just be asking questions. Is this the right height for you? You know what I mean? Is this cabled right?
We just
know what I mean?
encountered an install where that happened.
Really?
Where we did not keep the individual in the loop as much as they would have liked to have been. We took everything that they communicated to us and we did it.
Right.
And they were there, but they weren't super involved. They didn't really care. But then they came in at the end of this week-long install and they're like, oh, we're not a fan. And we're like, we just spent a week hanging lights in here.
Right.
So we learned from that, and we redid the install for them. And, it is what it is. You live and you learn. But keep them right next to you the whole time. Like, hey, ask questions all the time. Like, hey, how do you think of this? Hey, we encountered this issue. And instead of me solving it in the best way that I think, I go to the pastor or whatever, and I'd be like, hey, these are the 2 solutions I came up with. What would you prefer?
Right.
And if they pick the lesser of the 2 options, maybe you, depending on what it is, obviously you got to choose the battles to fight. But maybe you're like, all right, I can do that. Or maybe you give them some reasoning why you think the other one might be a little better. See what they say. But at the end of the day, if they tell you to do something and you do it and then they don't like it, it's like, all right, well, I gave you the options and you told me to do this. So
like there has to be some give both ends.
Exactly.
And that's a whole nother, that's just a business thing.
Yeah.
But I think this would be another good extension, like a part 4 even.
We're just, the rest of this podcast is now just going to be talking.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I mean, that's what the podcast
Right.
is called. So I guess we will do a lot of talking about that.
But like just that concept of like pre-project client versus during project client. It's the same person, but totally different people.
They're totally different. Yep.
It's amazing that shift. Some people are really knowledgeable and they'll just like share what they want. This is what I want. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And some are looking to you for dreams and stuff.
Yeah. Some are looking. Yeah. And it's hard because like everybody's different. Like you said, some people you'll walk in and they want to have a hand in everything. Everything.
Right.
Which I'm not opposed, but sometimes that gets brutally annoying. Like,
right.
It's like, all right, at the end of the day, like, not trying to like with my ego or anything, but like at the end of the day, I'm the professional. You hired me to come in and do this in the best way that I see fit. And if you keep questioning me and like in a negative way, I'll say, like, because I've had this happen where they question you in a negative way. Like you can tell that they don't think that I know what I'm doing.
Skeptical almost.
Yeah, yes, that's the word I'm looking for. It's like, all right, it's hard for me to do my job if you're going to sit here over my shoulder and be skeptical about all the work I'm doing. Like, I'll be like plugging in wires behind a rack. They're like, are you sure those are all lined up? Are you sure? I'm like, yes, I labeled them. I'm positive. And then other clients are like, yep, I don't care. Deuces.
Right. Yeah. Get it done.
They don't care. They have the full trust in you. That's why they hired you. And they're like, and that's exactly what they say when I talk to them. They're like, I hired you because you're the professional. I want you to do it. I'm like, yeah, sweet. I can. And I will do the best work I absolutely can. I love working for clients like that because I feel like I have the creative freedom to really like just give them the best that I've got.
Right.
And I can just sit there and chug for however long the install is and seriously put out like the best product that I can.
Yeah.
And set it up the best for them.
And that reveal is, instead of having someone sit behind you and watch you the entire time, the reveal of leaving the room, coming back to a finished product is like, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll be blown away. And so don't be the second guy or whichever order
Don't-
we did it.
The first guy.
Don't be the first guy.
Try not to be the first guy. Obviously, we understand, and I'm not trying to like talk down to anybody.
Yeah, it's
Or,
okay
like,
to
say
ask
people-
questions.
Totally okay.
That's what.
I love it when they ask questions. Like I
Yeah.
love explaining to people how stuff works. Like that. This is my passion. If you ask me questions, like I'm just gonna go nerd on you
Mhm.
and tell you exactly how it all works.
Right, but
but,
don't
like,
start doubting.
Yeah,
your work.
it's the doubt. It's where, yeah, it's just
That's where it gets
it's
hazy.
not as fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna transition us into the announcement section of the podcast.
Yes, because
we're gonna wrap up here.
hit our time.
Maybe part 3, maybe part 4. Probably we'll see what happens. But
Probably
they
part
may they be labeled something different because different focus. But this was just another just event planning conversation. A little more indoor versus outdoor.
Yeah.
But we wanted to hit you guys with a little bit of a special announcement of an opportunity that Quinn and I have
Yeah.
a couple weeks from now. Quinn, what's that?
Yes, sir. We are going to Italy,
Italy.
Italia,
Padova?
Padova, Italy,
Padova,
right outside
Italy.
of Venice.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, 45
so
minutes. And they have we had a touching moment there a second ago, Tanner and I.
We high-fived feet. Let me clear that up.
Yes. So we need to get video. That's a reason why.
We really do.
So maybe
thinking
that's
about
something that should be an announcement on one of these weeks.
It
But
should be.
back into the announcement.
yeah.
We're going to Italy.
Italy.
We're doing a worship-focused missions trip, and it is so exciting because
I'm pumped.
I've always wanted to go to Italy. One, I've always wanted to do missions, and this is another opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
2, and 3, it's worship.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Get to drum with some of my bros. Tanner's going.
Mm-hmm.
My boy Hunter's going. We got a squad.
We got the squad.
And why this is relevant to you, we will be recording 1, if not 2,
Ooh!
podcasts in the country of Italy. We're going
In Italy.
we're going international.
We are going international.
It's
We will be doing a
crazy.
meet and greet.
Yes, we're going to
So
have
all 6 of you come over to Italy and you can meet us.
Belgium.
I don't even know how that happened. How did that happen?
He just popped himself with his mic.
This is why we need video. I'm bleeding in my mouth.
It's aggressive microphone.
I can taste the blood.
I can see your eyes dilating. You've got the
I'm
taste.
just going to pass out.
Yes.
But yeah, we are going to bring you guys some podcast episodes in Italy. So like Quinn said, it's a missions trip. So it's a super cool opportunity where you're playing a worship night and doing some worship teaching, along with production teaching, like teaching some production and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they were calling them workshops. That's it. So worship and production workshops,
Right.
which is, we're literally the worship production podcast. And Quinn and I will be doing worship production workshops in Italy
Yeah.
for these international churches. And we'll be leading. It's a 25th year anniversary celebration for this church over in Italy. And they asked us to come because they're friends with Pastor Christian or something.
Yeah. So it's a
So-
super special opportunity
Super cool.
and a special opportunity for us to
Yeah.
share with y'all some traveling, stuff on travel, stuff on who knows what topic we'll hit, but I'm sure we're going to decide something quick once we get there,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. And I'll be bringing my camera. So hopefully maybe we can have some video for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do some little travel vlogs and stuff.
Yeah.
Worship production travel vlogs.
And I don't want to spill the beans, but it sounds like there's a chance that we'll
Mhm.
have our first ever special guest on
Yes,
the podcast.
sir. I can't wait.
We just have to get them to agree.
I think they've already agreed.
Yeah, it's kind of a
He was
great.
pretty vocal about wanting to be on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, hopefully we can bring that to you guys. We're super pumped about that opportunity. It's what we love to do. And at the end of the day, it's missions. And we get to share what we love to do and help others grow in
Mhm.
this field. And just allow them to use those gifts for the kingdom of God, which
Come on.
at the end of the day is what we're trying to do out here. So
Yeah. So we hope you're learning. We hope you're enjoying. And if you guys have questions,
please send them
send the
us.
questions. We want to answer. We want to dive in.
at Worship Production Podcast on the Instagram.
The world is
DM
your
us.
oyster.
Mm-hmm.
Any question
Literally
about
anything.
production or worship, I'm talking chord
Or-
charts. I'm talking, multi-tracks. I'm
Mm.
talking
Anything you want.
LED walls.
Guitars.
guitars,
Like,
gear.
come on. Literally
Like-
anything. Like, I am a guitarist. Quinn's a drummer. Ask us questions about, literally, we'll talk about anything. We
Yeah.
just want to drop some knowledge bombs.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Can't say that in an airport.
Or at a political event. Make sure you keep your generators far from your stage.
We're going to get canceled.
Guys, if we get blacklisted,
It's because... Anyway, we're just going to put like a little beep sound in there for all that. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Worship Production Podcast.
yes, tune in next week
Tune in next week.
and we'll see you soon.
See you then.